Hey, honey. How you doing? There we go. Let's do that. Hello, hello. Let's see. Oh. Let's see if anybody's gonna come on, and then I'm gonna get started. All right. There we go. That's better. That's better. Hey. I put some blush on. Cause I've been looking hit lately, right? I've been looking quarantine crazy. Okay. I posted a question on Instagram in my stories. If anybody's been doing makeup during the quarantine, and it was an astounding, a landslide of a vote of heck no. Hey! What's up, Christina? And Suni? I don't know if you checked off or not. All right, let's see. Instagram, how are you guys doing today? Welcome, welcome, welcome. Facebook, Periscope, YouTube, whoever else is on this side, welcome, welcome, welcome. If you see me like moving my head like up and down, it's not because I'm like crazy. It's because I got two different screens going on, and I want to be able to pay attention to both. All right. How's everybody today? How's everybody doing this week? Give me some comments. Give me some hearts. Give me some likes. Let me know. Let me know. This is not a lecture. It's a discussion. So I want to hear, I want to hear how you guys have been. Let me know how you're doing in the comments. How you doing, Christina? All right, I'm gonna go ahead and get started. Doing okay. Not that thrilled to be working through all of this. Yes, girl, you are brave, and God is covering you in your safety, in your health, that nothing will come in or out of your home, and you will be safe. And I'm just going to pray that over you right now. So, in the name of Jesus. All right, so since we're in this quarantine situation, I decided to take every opportunity that I could to get closer to you guys and to connect to you guys and to share all of the knowledge that I have coming out of my videos and articles and all of that stuff. So in comes this live stream. Every Thursday, I'm going to be doing a live Q&A discussion with you guys based on the YouTube video that I posted earlier this week. And today's topic is questions to ask before getting married. This doesn't necessarily mean that you are in an engagement season. It just means, what are the most important questions you should have, that you should be addressing before, if and when that season comes upon you and you guys are getting ready to say, I do. So I answered 5 top questions in my latest video. Hey, Jackie, how are you? Welcome on Instagram. I answered five of the questions that you absolutely should have, but I wanted to open up the discussion a little bit more, because clearly there are so many things that are such heavy-hitting topics where if you said I do and you put all the money and the investment in a wedding and in this huge event and you decided to move with this person and you get married, and all of a sudden you find out about this thing, you know, and you weren't prepared to handle this thing, or you wish you would have known about this thing before you said I do, it could have changed the entire game plan. So what are the most important questions? I opened up that question box to you guys earlier today through several of my avenues, through Facebook and through Instagram and YouTube. I posed the questions. So I have a couple questions out here that I want to go ahead and share with you guys, some things that you guys might be considering when it comes to what you should be in the aware of, or what you should know about before you say I do to somebody. So we're going to keep this open discussion, okay? I'm going to share with you my thoughts and my opinions based from experience, based off of what I learned in terms of relationships and Christian dating and just being in this kind of setting for so long. I've been in this setting since 2012. So for 8 years, I've been writing and I've been coaching women on how to trust God with their life, and then how to trust God specifically when it comes to love. So all of the knowledge that I have, I'm going to just kind of pour it into you based on these questions. If you have more questions during this discussion, drop them in the comments below. All right. This is an interactive discussion. So give me the hearts. Let me know that you guys are there. And lastly, the last thing I want to say before I get into the questions is I have a free resource for anybody who has to have one of those difficult conversations. If you have a really important question that you need to address with your significant other and you don't necessarily know how to bring it up because you guys never really had these types of heavy-hitting conversations to begin with, then you're definitely going to want to go ahead and subscribe to that resource right there. I'm pointing at Instagram, but for you guys that are watching on this screen, you guys can check on the comments. I have a link to you, and it's called Speak, Listen, and Love. How to have a productive conversation with your husband. Yes, it's geared towards people who are married, because these are the people that you have to have a conversation with all day, every day, for till death do you part. But if you're in the same situation, if you're a long-term relationship and you know that it's getting serious, you know that it's going places, then you're definitely going to want to have these heavy conversations. And so this resource is definitely going to help you. So you can go ahead and click on the link in my bio. If you're watching on Instagram, go to my profile, hit the link in my bio. From there, there's a tab that says Start Here, or you can click on that icon whenever I posted it. I think I posted it earlier today. So you click on that image and it'll send you right to the handout for this ebook. It's totally free. There's something to help you with, to help you get you going and having these conversations. All right, we're going to keep this short and steady. Christina, you've been to some of my live classes. You know sometimes they can go over an hour long, but we're going to keep this short because it's a live stream and people got things to do. And we're going to just keep it light and airy, all right? And we're going to make sure that everybody has a good time in between. So without further ado, let's go ahead and get into some questions, right? Somebody asked me, should you have a game plan about each other's debt, about the individual debt? Should you talk about their debt before you get married? My answer to you is absolutely. Absolutely. Before you go, because this is why. When you get married, everything becomes one, okay? Your assets become one. Your finances become one. Your what you do, your time, everything becomes one. Your bills now become his bills, I know there's some married couples out there that keep finances separate, and to each their own. But if you're going to try to go all in on this experience, if you're going to try to be one unit, one body, one mind, one accord, finances is going to fall under that umbrella. And so therefore, you can't just go in and then have somebody who is going to be the breadwinner, and then they find out after the fact that you have thousands of dollars in debt, that you are thousands and thousands of dollars in debt. That is just not fair. That's wrong, because that changes your entire game plan. Okay, maybe somebody was thinking, oh, I'm going to have this extravagant life now that I'm married. You know, we're going to go travel. We're going to have this fancy house. You know, this is the dream life. I'm going to live my happily ever after. But then if your spouse never told you about this unforeseen debt, that changes the whole situation, because now you got to put your mind and attention to the debt. You got to put your finances to the debt. All of your dreams, your financial freedom dreams, are now placed on hold, right? So it's very important that you talk about your debt. Not only that, it's going to affect your credit too, because remember, credit can affect everything that you do in a marriage. If you're going to buy a house, if you're going to buy a home, how your name is going to be put on those certain properties, okay? All of that will become affected based on your debt. So it's very important to bring that up. The question is, when do you bring it up? When do you have the discussion and admit to your significant other, hey, listen, I got this much in debt. How much debt do you have? All right. When do you have that discussion? I'm just going to be totally honest and open right here. Okay. We're going to have a moment. Okay. No judging. I once was dating a guy, and I think we were like a year in, and I just flat out told him, I said, listen, I have debt from school and I have bad credit, and this is it. And I just love you. And I love the fact that we're going to do this together. He's not my husband, okay? We didn't make it. That relationship failed, okay? And probably because I scared the dude off. That was probably one of the reasons, because I assumed that they were going to be okay with where I was financially, and I assumed that we were going to take care of that together. He never gave me that assurance to begin with, and therefore, because I assumed, I put him in a position that made him uncomfortable, that made him feel like I'm about to get trapped. You know what I'm saying? So it matters when you talk about this thing, because this is a very serious thing, okay? You want to wait until you know you're serious enough to know that an engagement is about to come out. But you don't want to do it too soon, to the point where you just met him, okay? So when you start having the other serious conversations, when he starts to bring up, I think we could go all the way. I could see you being the mother of my kid. I could see us, growing old together. I could see it when you start to talk about future, okay? Not like in the cute way, like not in the cute nighttime conversation of, oh, I love you and let's dream about this and let's dream about. No, when you're seriously having some sit down conversations and you're talking about futures and talking about how you're going to plan that out and how it's going to look, that's when you bring up the serious stuff. That's when you start bringing up things like credit and things like debt. And if this is supposed to be the person for you, like, I understand finances can be very personal, if you will, because nobody knows your finances except you and your accountant and your banker. You know what I mean? But for this person, if you're really going to give him your all, if you're going to open up all the doors of your heart and you're going to tear down all the walls to allow this individual in, you got to let him know up front, listen, this is what I'm dealing with, but also have a plan. This is what I plan to do with this debt. This is where I'm at currently in my debt free, in my road to freedom of debt freedomness. You know what I'm saying? Like, don't just spring it on him and expect them to just be like, okay, well, I'll help you pay it. Like, let him know I'm trying to be responsible with this. Okay. One of the things that you can do is try to take care of your individual debt before you move into a marriage. So maybe if you guys are very serious for one another and you have this debt conversation, then maybe the plan is, before we decide that we're going to get married, we're going to be responsible for our individual debt, such as credit cards, okay, or a medical bill. But if it's something like a mortgage, if it's something like a student loan debt, something that is like just beyond the things that you personally made a choice to spend extra in, is something that's going to help elevate you or something like that. If it's a car note, things like that. Like, let them know, let them be aware that this is going to be something that's included in your future budget as a husband and as a wife. All right. So budgets are very, finance is one of those things. And that's one of the questions that I brought up in my video, is make sure you guys talk about your finances before you get married, because somebody might be a saver, somebody might be a spender, somebody might have a ton of debt, somebody might be saying it's not a big deal, somebody might have a lifetime where they just want to live free and travel, and then you're going to restrict them because of where you're at financially. So it's very important to make sure that you guys talk about that. I see Brandon joined, Linda joined, LaJoy joined. Hey girl, hey, how you doing? I'm a spender, right? So here's the thing. Let me give you another example about why this is so important. I'm a saver. I'm a saver because when I grew up, I had no money. I was born a saver because I didn't have, I wasn't able to spend. And my husband was a spender. Not to say that he grew up in a better financial circumstance, but when he earned his money through the jobs that he had, he just spent it on whatever. He'd go to McDonald's, whatever. And for me, I was just like, can't we just take that and can't we just save it somewhere else? So getting to know your personality when it comes to finances. What would you guys do if you were blessed with $1,000? Where'd that money go? Where should it go? How important is paying off all of your student loans versus I'm just okay with paying a monthly payment? How important is it for you to have used cars versus new cars versus a leased car versus a bought car? So many things come into play, because at the end of the day, it impacts your day-to-day finances. It impacts your day-to-day spending. It impacts your budget and what you can have the freedom to do as husband and wife in the future on a day-to-day basis, in holidays, with vacations, with emergencies. It impacts all of that. So that's why it's very important to have this conversation. We balance each other. Kyle is the spender and I'm the saver, LaJoy. So lots of conversations. Now that we're married and we understand where we're at, we started our marriage. We had $130,000, $110,000 of debt just because of random credit cards, or mainly because of student loans and stuff like that. And now we have paid off all of our student debt. We're student debt free. And now all we really have is the mortgages and the cars as our debt. And so we made a plan from the very beginning. Honestly, the very first marriage devotional that we did as soon as we came home from our honeymoon was how to manage finances, because we knew that we were two different financial personalities, and we knew that we didn't want to be in debt forever. We knew that we wanted to be able to plan to have a future and plan to have a house, this kind of house, this dream office. We planned this, 7 years ago. And so we had to get on that plan. We had to have a talk, an ongoing talk, and it started before we got married. All right. So that was my first question. Again, for those of you guys that are popping on, I want to say hello to you. And I want to say, if you guys have any questions or concerns that I'm not covering in this conversation, make sure you drop them in the comments below. Also, if you need to have some kind of resource or some tips or a tool to help you understand, this is how I can talk to my significant other, so that way we can actually have a productive conversation, I have a resource. I'm pointing at it right here on Instagram for you guys on Facebook, Periscope, and where else? YouTube. Check it in the link below. It's called Speak, Listen, and Love. 10 tips for you and your husband to have a productive conversation. So make sure you get the link for that and you sign up. You get that free ebook there. The second question that I had, age difference. Is age difference, does it make a huge difference? Does age make a huge difference before you get married? Is it something that you need to press on? Is it something that's not a big deal? What is your opinion? All right. There is no real wrong or right or wrong answer. What is your opinion on that? If you have an opinion, make sure that you comment it below. Make sure you share with me in the comment box here, and I'll chat through it. Me personally, I wrote an article for Elite Daily a couple years ago, maybe 2015, 2016. I used to write for them, And that was one of my articles, one of my viral articles. And to me, I've come off of both sides of the spectrum. I dated men who were older than me. I dated men who were younger than me. I'm currently married to a man who is younger than me. I am a cougar right now. And this is what I say to you. If you're trying to figure out if this is something that's going to affect you before you get married, and you need to have this talk now, then from jump, you need to have this talk from the very beginning. From the moment you start dating this person, you need to figure out, are you comfortable with dating someone who is not within your age range? If they're years older or years younger, you need to figure out for yourself, before you have a conversation with anybody else, have a conversation with yourself. Do I feel comfortable with this? Okay. There's a lot of misconceptions about older men. You know, they can play two sides. When you're dating an older man, they could either be your sugar daddy. They could take care of you. They could probably take care of all your needs. You know, they might be able to treat you in a way that makes you feel safe and secure. Okay. Or on the other side of the spectrum, they're old, which means, can I really trust him? Does he have another agenda? Is he only using me for my body or for my youth or for my beauty? Okay, so it's up to you to figure out this person. It's up to you to understand their intentions. It's up to you to figure out your comfort level and how you feel and how they make you feel. Is age nothing but a number? To some it is. To others it's not. Okay? When you think about younger men, okay? If you're dating younger men, again, two sides of the spectrum. Okay, you might think, oh, I have to take care of them. They're irresponsible. I have to treat them like a child. You know, I'm molding them, you know, quote unquote, I'm molding them into the man that I want them to become for me, which is totally the wrong way of thinking, first of all. And the other side of the spectrum is he's playing too many games, or, you know, he's just not mature enough to handle this relationship. And you basically just see him as just a plaything. You're not taking him serious, whether he is or he's not. You're not taking the relationship serious. In both scenarios, whether you're dating someone old or whether you're dating someone that's younger, you have two totally different sides of the spectrum. Okay? At the end of the day, the constant that's going to remain in any of these equations is you. What do you want? Are you looking for someone who's serious? Then look for someone who's serious, whether they're young or old. Are you looking for somebody with the right intentions? Then stop wasting your time with somebody who's just playing. Are you really trying to just look for somebody to play a game with? Because chances are you'll find them. If you're looking, you'll find them. So to answer your question, does age make a huge difference? Quite honestly, not. I would say this though, if you choose to date somebody who is a different age group than you, then the conversation you want to have is one that I mentioned on YouTube, and that is that it's the children conversation. You want to make sure that you're going to have children, because if you're dating someone who's older, who might already have children or who may be past that childbearing, you know, I don't want to raise a toddler age, then you want to make sure you have that conversation. And vice versa, if you're dating someone younger and they're not ready to have children, or they're not interested in that yet, they're just not there yet in their age, in their life, you want to make sure you have that conversation. Okay? That's the only thing I would bring up when it comes to an age difference, is the child talk, is the future children talk, because that will have an impact in where they are. I know when I was younger, I was not trying to have kids at all. I didn't see it. I knew somewhere in the future. So if I was dating somebody who was ready and primed to be a family man, who was ready, you know, in my early 20s, it would have never worked out. And vice versa, if I'm older and I'm like, okay, I'm here, I'm ready to have this thing, let's do it, but I'm dating someone who's younger and they're not, you know, I can't expect them to come up to my level if that's not where they're at. You got to have those hard conversations. And again, that's where the resource comes in: speak, listen, and love. All right. So those are the two main questions that I got from today. Is there anyone else that, before I let go, is there anyone else that has any questions about what you should be talking about, or what you should be concerned with before you get married. Again, this is not for somebody who's engaged. This is just anybody who wants to know, so that they need to know, so that when the time happens, they know. You know what I mean? I like the intentions perspective. Like for me, I don't think it matters if there is a connection. I don't think it matters if there is a connection. Talk to me a little bit more about that, Christina. Go deeper into that. Go deeper into that thought. Let me know more about that thought. All right. I did have a question over here, and I want to go ahead and ask it. And the question is health. Should you know about a person's health before you marry them? I think it's pretty relevant that we talk about health and the conditions of somebody's health, considering everything that's going on in the world today. You know, if you're dating someone that's very serious and you're getting ready to spend the rest of your life lying in the same bed as them, I would want to know what your health is. I would want to know where you've been and what you've been doing and what your past health history looks like. Because it not only affects you in your future, but it could affect future kids. It could affect whether or not you're going to have to, you know, buckle down and take care of them. It could affect your health insurance as a family. Okay. So understanding the risk factors when it comes to health. Yes, I think it's very important that you should ask them. Should they get tested for any kind of disease, any kind of anything like that before you guys get married? At your discretion. I think you might want to find out before you spend the rest of your life with them. If they're clean and if they're healthy. Yes, absolutely. Get a health check. Get a health check. I know for some areas of the world, you have to have a health check cleared before the state will marry you. You know, I know my dad and my stepmother, they got married in Puerto Rico, and they weren't able to get married until they got a clean health pass. And I think the reason why they do that is so that both the husband and the wife are aware and they can make a conscious decision of whether they want to proceed. And so if that's what they do in other countries and in other parts of the world, why wouldn't it be acceptable here in your home? I think having that conversation is totally doable, and it's not asking for too much, because you have to understand when you get married, it's not a long-term relationship. It's not a relationship with a boyfriend. It's not a glorified boyfriend, glorified girlfriend type of situation. You're planning to spend and mesh your life together. You're planning to become one. And so to be as confident with that choice, that's a big choice. It's not like you're picking a car. Okay. It's not like you're picking a car that's a lease that's going to be up in 5 years, 3 to 5 years. This is like a long-term, like this forever. You know, it's a pretty long thing. You know, you want to make sure that you're picking the right person. And so by all means, whatever questions that you have to ask, whether they're easy or hard, you should have the confidence and the assurance that those questions will be answered with honesty and with the notion that it will help make you feel secure with the decision that you choose to make. So that's what I'm going to leave with. Christina, if you have nothing else, oh, there you go. Like if the person has a real genuine connection, then age wouldn't be an issue. But I think it matters about that other person's intentions about the relationship. Exactly. Yeah, that's what I thought you were saying. So good. I'm glad you cleared that up. So yes. If the person, like I said, if they're older or younger, depending on what their intentions are, because you might go in there and just think, oh, he's cute. Age doesn't matter. You know, I'm just going to see this thing out. But they might have a completely different mindset as to why they decided to choose you. So having those conversations, and again, the level of conversation that you have has to range based on where you're at in the relationship. You can't bring up, you know, where do we look like in 10 to 15 years on your third date? Okay, you gotta take it easy, and then as you see the relationship start to progress, as you see that it's growing and it's starting to have this closeness, as you guys are starting to get intimate emotionally and mentally, then that's when you start to say, hey, I noticed that we've had some closeness. I noticed that we're growing and we're moving closer to this area of our life and not that the opposite end. So I just want to ask you, you know, some questions, some concerns of mine. You know, maybe you guys set it up so that you sit down and you have this conversation, or maybe you agree every single week. This is how I'm going to have this week. I want to talk to you about this finance thing. This week I want to talk to you about kids. However you guys want to do it, so that it's not like just sprawled on them in the middle of your binge watching. You know, like make sure this is a serious thing. So make it serious, and make sure that it's when you guys are serious. Make it serious when it's serious. Okay, is my advice and what I would recommend you guys do when it comes to asking questions before you get married. All right, so I'm going to wrap this up right now. Again, I'm going to say one more time, if you guys have any kind of questions or concerns about how you can have these hard conversations with the person that you want to get serious with, then be sure to click on the resource right here. Speak, Listen, and Love. Actually, don't click on that, but click on the link in my bio. All right, on Instagram. Click on the link in my bio. You can go to that website and you will find Speak, Listen, and Love, the picture. Click on that and you'll get to the free resource. All right, for YouTube and Periscope and Facebook, click on the comments. You'll get the link right there. And if you don't want to do all that, then just SelinaAlmodovar.com/married-women. And you'll get to that resource right there. All right. Did you enjoy today's live stream? Let me know in the comments. Give me some hearts. Give me some smiles, thumbs ups, happy faces, whatever you want. Let me know if this is something good. Next week, make sure that you tune in, because we are going to talk about things to get the spark, keep the spark in your marriage. While it is directed towards married people, this could probably apply to any serious relationship. So be sure you're tuning into that. Thank you for tuning in. I hope you guys have a wonderful evening. Remember, as always, in such times as these, make sure that you guys are staying healthy and safe. You're washing your hands. You're keeping your distance. You're staying home. Okay? Make sure you stay home. And be sure to catch me on social media. You guys know I'm everywhere nowadays because I got nothing but time on my hands. All right. So be sure that you tune in. If you haven't seen the video, 5 questions to ask before you get engaged or before you get married, make sure that you tune into that. You can find it on Facebook, my page, my professional page, also on YouTube, and also on IGTV. So make sure you catch that out. And I'm going to crash right now. I'm really tired. My husband and I, we're going to just lay low for the rest of the evening. The kids are finally down, and we're going to have a good night. And I hope that you guys have a good night too, all right? So thank you so much for tuning in and for watching and for joining and for all the likes and the comments. And I hope if you have any more questions or comments outside of this replay or outside of this live, make sure you DM me, send me a message, a comment, a private message, and I'll be sure to address them there, all right? I'm talking to you guys later, and have a wonderful rest of your Thursday evening. Bye-bye.